seem to have the easiest time talking about Star Wars when I do these little distraction therapy video talks. And figure why not talk a little bit more about the setting. Whoa, hey. Suppose I could leave the camera pointed that way the whole time. The car is really warm. It's over 80 today. And so the little ball and socket joint that is there on the cell phone holder is not as stable as it normally would be otherwise. I guess the socket expands and the ball doesn't or something, because it just doesn't grip as well. I guess I'll have to keep watching for that. Yeah, setting details in Star Wars, stuff that I don't feel like George Lucas was detailed enough about when he created the setting. I get that some of this is low enough level detail that like it wouldn't have made sense to clarify it in the setting in the original trilogy. Lots of traffic right now. Huge line of cars on this back road that turned into a main road. Whatever. Anyway, so I've never really felt like Lucas was great at consistency, logic, or definitions. Obviously parsec, but whatever. It's not what this video is about. I feel like the Force and Lightsabers are what I want to focus on. Wow, and I just got to that at 2.5 minutes in. I guess that's what happens when you don't plan ahead. Hopefully the title of the video will be clear. With my definition of the Force, I think I disagree with Lucas on what it should be. And obviously he gets to choose, it's his setting. I believe his original concept of the Force was there was another plane of existence entirely, with inhabitants called the Wills, WHILLS or something like that. And these were essentially the Force, and it meant, I believe, that the Force actually has a will of its own. There is an intelligence behind it, and so when the Jedi are speaking of the will of the Force, they mean it literally. And I don't like that at all. And then I know metachlorians were a concept even at the time of the script writing for the original trilogy, even if the word didn't make it in. And I guess he conceptualized them as sort of the conduit to the Force. I'm not entirely sure on that one, but I don't like that either. So in my version, the Force is just a fundamental aspect of reality like gravity. It's just another thing that can be described by physics, but unlike gravity, it's not tied to mass of the matter. The Force is more a thing that is tied to life, kind of as Yoda described it, or maybe it was Obi-Wan that, no, it was Yoda that said life creates it, makes it grow. I imagine it tied to life, and most specifically to minds. So trees have a connection to the Force, but like not a more of a generative one, where like if you are in a forest, it will be easier to access the Force, or compared to if you're on a rock ball planet, it's not as easy to access the Force. And of course, as I said, minds are attached to the Force, and it's not about intelligence of the mind, just sort of like mass of the mind, like how forthright is it, how I don't know if there is a word for what I'm thinking, because there's no reason to have a word for what I'm thinking. So a dog with obviously less intelligence than a human could have just as strong or stronger a connection to the Force. Just it's based on their mind, an aspect of their mind, and this connection all living things have, but those who can direct the Force, use the Force, who have enough perception to receive more information from the Force, these people just have that stronger bond. So like all minds have it, just some minds have more. And to me, this is how Force ghosts can happen, where the mind is kind of incubated in the physical body, and I kind of see it going like the opposite of the standard bell curve, where like when you're born, your connection is really strong, you've got nothing crazy messing things up, and you could potentially become a Force ghost as a baby or a child, and then have a chance to essentially grow and live in the Force. And then as you become an adult and all the adulting matters clutter you, and stupid things like greed mess you up, and reduce the likelihood that your mind will continue past your body's death. It essentially weakens your mind. And then as you get even older and hopefully wiser, and start to gain a greater appreciation for what life is about, and have a greater appreciation for what really is meaningful, strengthens. Your connection to the Force becomes stronger again, and you are more likely to continue on as a conscious entity in the Force as a Force ghost. So that kind of makes up the afterlife. And the really strongly connected people, what is going on here? I'm supposed to get off at this exit. People are driving too slow. You people are driving too slow. What is going on? It's a nice day. Drive. All right. So yeah, the more powerful Force users that were both had a strong connection to the Force to begin with and reached that level of enlightenment that encouraged the becoming that Force ghost, would have the ability to come back to the material world and interact with it. Oh, Jesus. People going slow, so I just... Alright, so... that's kind of... I think that's a pretty complete explanation of how I think of the Force. And how it's different, I think, from what Lucas initially wanted and how it is implied in the movies, because they don't really give us a good definition of it. Now, I think this last little bit, quickly before I get to my destination, about lightsaber colors, where in the original trilogy, what we have is good guys have blue lightsabers and bad guys have red, and the only reason Luke's became a green lightsaber was because the blue screen technology, like blue or green screen technology, against a blue sky for the stuff that was happening on Tatooine, it was really hard to do the blue lightsaber. So they chose green, so it would be different. Oh, interesting. That was a little unexpected. Yeah, so then the prequels came along and they fiddled with lightsaber colors more and tacked on Star Wars stuff, included the idea that there was greater meaning behind the colors, and that, like, to get a red lightsaber you had to corrupt the kyber crystal, and like Jedi Templars generally had yellow lightsabers, and of course Mace Windu with his purple lightsaber, because Samuel L. Jackson was like, yeah, give me a purple lightsaber. I want to add on to it. And suggest that the colors have more specific meaning. And this is, of course, in my headcanon, in my view of the way the Star Wars setting should be. Red, blue, and yellow are primary colors in paint. And I specify paint because in physics, radiation, that's not the case. It's essentially red, green, and blue. You make yellow by mixing red and green, for example, but that doesn't work really well with where I'm going with this. Red, yellow, and blue work for my primary colors for lightsabers. And the way I figure it, lightsabers, when the creator makes them, have traits, things that particular lightsaber is particularly good at. And if you make a corrupted kyber crystal lightsaber, the traits are generally the aggressive ones, the ones that make the blade red. So they're the ones that make it do more damage, or like better at moving well, so you can use it for feints better than a normal lightsaber. Like things that will help you do harm. The blue ones, in my headcanon, are the physically defensive traits, the ones that make it easier for you to parry, or which can, I don't know, sorry, I'm just doing this off the cuff. Like I said near the beginning of the video, this wasn't really well planned, but things that help you protect. And then the yellow traits, the ones that result in a yellow blade, are more of the mental side. So like while holding the blade, it helps you feel calm instead of losing control to your temper, or it helps you focus, so that you're more likely to notice details that you might have missed otherwise, or whatever. Like just little, like the Force gives you information, right? So maybe your lightsaber helps your bond to the Force in that particular way, and you're better at noticing things. So physical aggression, physical defense, mental utility. And so I imagine it that when Luke made his green lightsaber, he was focusing on the meditation that Yoda was teaching him, and doing a good job of improving the mental side of his abilities with the Force. And Obi-Wan is known in some of the extended materials as being one of the greatest swordsmen, especially defensively. Like it was said that you couldn't get past his guard, and his style is called Sorasu, which focuses on defense. So it made sense that he has a blue lightsaber, and if Anakin was his apprentice, that the first lightsaber Anakin made would be like that. Mace Windu's lightsaber, being purple, would be a combination of red and blue, and it was said that his fighting style and his style with the Force was a combination of dark and light side. Like he walked a line between the two, and it gave him some impressive ability. But for me, that makes sense. Like, he has like an excellent combination between attack and defense. Yoda's lightsaber being green makes sense to me. The Templars being mostly about meditating at the temple, yeah, that's probably yellow. I could imagine a wiser dark side user making a combination between aggression and mental strength. I could have imagined the Emperor's lightsaber being orange, for example. Anyway, so I think that covers it. I think it would have been cool if lightsaber colors were defined that well, and otherwise, thanks for listening, and see you next time.